It could be by a megaphone from Sproul Hall, but I'm planning on giving my speech. And I assume the same way I will be doing my job, they will be doing their jobs and providing a safe and secure location for my speech.
So Coulter says she's going to make that speech at UC Berkeley even after the school called off her visit that's scheduled for later this week. A group of Berkeley students now filing a lawsuit against the university for canceling the event. The school citing security concerns after recent protests have gotten very violent there. But the Berkeley College Republicans say the school violated the group's right to free speech. Joining me now to talk about that, Judge Andrew Napolitano, Fox News senior judicial analyst. Good to see you, Judge.
Good morning, Shannon.
All right, I want to read a little bit of what the College Republicans there had to say. They say the case arises from efforts by one of California's leading public universities, UC Berkeley, once known as the birthplace of free speech movement, to restrict and stifle the speech of conservative students whose voices fall beyond the campus political orthodoxy. Do they have a case?
Well, it depends what they can prove if they have a case. We start with a couple of basics. UC Berkeley is owned by the state of California. So if something's owned by the state, it has to respect the First Amendment. First Amendment applies through the 14th to all the states. Stated differently, UC Berkeley cannot engage in viewpoint discrimination. It cannot stop Coulter because it doesn't like what they think she's going to say, but permit somebody on the left to speak because it does like what they're going to say. University administrators have a lot of discretion with respect to safety, and courts are generally reluctant to second-guess how colleges are administered with respect to safety of students and visitors that come to listen to speeches. But Coulter is right on the mark, in my view. She has the right to speak there because she has been lawfully invited by a group that has the right to invite her. That triggers an affirmative obligation on the part of the school to make sure the people that want to listen to her can do so. So the school can't permit people to drown her out. They can't permit people to scare her away. Well, can't scare her away.
No.
And the school certainly cannot stop her from speaking because it doesn't like her message.
Okay, so here is what a spokeswoman for the university is saying. The allegation contained in the complaint by Young America's Foundation that Ms. Coulter is being prohibited from speaking because of her conservative views is untrue. UC Berkeley has been working to accommodate a mutually agreeable time for Ms. Coulter's visit, which has not yet been scheduled, and remains committed to doing so. So if the government, this university acting as the government, is going to put a burden on free speech against their interest in what they say is keeping everybody safe, how will the court balance or examine those two competing interests?
Okay, I'm going to argue that it's not a case of balance, it's a case of bias. It's a bias in favor of free speech, in favor of the right of students to bring whoever they want to that school, in this case Coulter, and in favor of the right of people who want to hear what she has to say to be able to do so. So the school has to provide a forum. They can't permit her to be drowned out. That's called the heckler's veto, when the audience drowns out the speaker and whoever owns the building, in this case the school, permits that to happen. So they have a lot of work to do, but they are the government. They know they have to accommodate her First Amendment rights to speak and the students' First Amendment right to hear her. They have to bend over backwards to allow this to happen.
What if there is violence? I mean, we have seen not only on the campus there, but spreading out in Berkeley, there have been very violent protests on a number of things, anarchists and others getting involved. If she shows up, who's responsible if there is violence? The
school is responsible if there is violence. It is not she. You cannot blame the speaker because people in the audience want to get violent because they don't like her. This is an awful, awful example that we're seeing here, but it happened right there in Berkeley, right where she is going to be. But the Supreme Court has ruled very, very clearly it is not, if the speaker gets up there and commands violence and the audience follows, that's a different story. If the speaker gets up there and gives a speech that half the audience loves and half the audience hates, it is not the speaker's fault that the haters are there. It's the university's fault for allowing the haters to interfere, whether they interfere verbally or with violence.
Well, there was plenty of interest in this now, but now I'm guessing there's a whole lot more because we'll be watching to see what happens.
Yes, we will. I think this will be resolved before the lawsuit is. You know, a lawsuit like this takes a couple of years.
Yeah.
She's going back there this week.
Thursday.
Yes.
All right.
Will you be there? Will we be there? Our eyes and ears will be there.
Our cameras will be there.
Yes.
Good to see you, Judge.
All the best.
Thank you.